This is Hunter Avallone. Apparently, I don't know who this guy is, but I've been told, he's like a big podcaster or Twitch streamer. I don't know what the guy does. He's like a gamer. He looks like a gamer. Here we go. By the way, this video does have some bad language. So viewer discretion, listener discretion is advised. All right. If you got kids in the room, get the kids out of the room, earmuff them, whatever you have to do, because there's swearing here. Okay, here we go.
How strong does your faith have to be to pray for somebody and they can actually fucking get better? Christianity is a huge scam because you have to believe that you're a piece of shit fuck up sinner, so disgusting and wretched you can never even be in the presence of God. That's the first thing you have to believe. You then accept that only God can save you and I can only be saved through God, and boom, within 2 or 3 steps, you have a total reliance. You have stripped people of their own self-worth, their own self-confidence. It's gone, and now all they have is God to rely on. It's the perfect scam.
Okay, well, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, really, I would just say that Christianity is perfect as a religion. It's the true religion. All of the religions are fake and phony and nonsense. But Christianity is not superficial. In fact, Christianity faces reality head on. And really what he's complaining about is the fact that Christianity is so real. It's too real for him. He wants to be fake. Because fake people ignore something called sin. Superficial people ignore evil. They just avoid it. And they just want to think happy thoughts all day, and they want to live in la la land. Christianity doesn't allow you to live in la la land. Christianity forces you to look at yourself with a sober mind and a sober assessment of your sin and sin itself. And Christianity also forces you to think logically about the world. And basically, in Romans chapter 1, Paul the apostle says, people are without excuse because they can clearly understand the fact that there is a God from natural reason. So Christianity says, no, you are, first off, created by God. The whole world was created by God, which means that actually the entire source of life in the universe is God. That means that you have nothing of your own. You were created by God, and your life is dependent upon God's power. And so you have no you have no autonomy outside of your creator. So, and that's just reason itself that Christianity forces people to be logical with and say, yeah, no, you didn't create yourself. You didn't make yourself. You didn't choose to come into the world. That was a decision that actually other people made, but also God made by making you and giving you the soul that you have that is eternal. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is Christianity, tells people that, yeah, they're sinners. There was a fall away from relationship with God that was based on free will, which is actually based on the dignity of mankind. So he says that Christianity doesn't give people self-worth. Actually, Christianity starts with the self-worth that is truly called the dignity of mankind, which is called free will. And mankind in man's free will has chosen, starting with Adam and Eve, chosen to disobey God and chosen to walk away from God. And so it was Adam and Eve's free will, their dignity, and that caused them to sin, in the sense that it didn't cause them to sin. They caused themselves to sin, but it was their free will that chose to sin and disobey God. So actually Christianity values dignity and says that people have a free will, and out of their free will, they choose to disobey God. And by disobeying God, they fall out of relationship with God, and that they become sinners based on their free will, and their actual sins are through their free will and so it's like Christianity tells people, yeah, hey, you have come here through your own choices. You have gotten here through your own choices. Christianity judges people through their own choices. It doesn't tell people that they are, garbage human beings based on God's choice, but that they have an inherited original sin that affects them and injures them, but that they also injure other people volitionally, that they have moral agency and they choose to be rotten. They choose to be depraved. They choose to ignore God and rebel against God and not acknowledge God and worship God. And by not acknowledging God and worshiping God, they become depraved and they choose a life of immorality. Christianity is just the religion of reality. It's all the other religions and all the other irreligions, like this guy's atheism, presumably, that want to live in a fantasy land, that want to pretend like nothing's wrong. And you know what? That's the problem, is that it's actually the true scam is the lie that you're not a sinner, the lie that you're not guilty of sin, that the lie that you that you don't choose your in that sense, that you don't choose good and evil, between good and evil, that the lie that you are not a moral agent, that you don't have moral agency. That is a lie. And that all of your problems are exterior to you. All of the problems in your life are, your parents or your teachers or your government or the system or whatever is exterior to you, that you don't contribute anything to the problems in your life. No, Christianity causes people to be responsible for their sins, for their crimes, for the things that they've done. And that's what that's where it begins, with a recognition that people are sinners, yes, because they've chosen sin. People have chosen to lie. People have chosen to hate. People have chosen to live in a debauched way, in a degenerate way. People have chosen to steal. People have chosen these things for their lives, and they've chosen to reject God instead of worship him. That is evil. That people have chosen evil, and Christianity just acknowledges that instead of pretending like that doesn't exist, like this gentleman's atheism does. And so, no, I say the true scam is lying to people about reality, and Christianity acknowledges reality in a very profound way, in the ultimate way, but it also acknowledges the reality that God loves us in spite of our sin, that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us, that God loves sinners, So yes, Christianity says we are dependent upon God for life, and but Christianity also recognizes that we have chosen in our free will to sin against God. And then it also says that God has, in his free will, chosen to love us and die for us and give us an opportunity to be saved and to be really truly ourselves, which is the self that he's created in goodness. And so Christianity is a religion of love, it's a religion of faith, and it's a religion of hope. And all the other religions are not that way. They're fatalistic, and especially the irreligions. They're the worst, which is what this guy believes in. He just believes in irreligion. And in fact, his beliefs are more irrational than any other religion, really.